Hello, and welcome to Podcast for English. My name is Linda. I'm really happy you're here today. This channel is for people who want to learn English in a simple and natural way. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to speak fast. You don't need to understand every word. You only need to listen. You can listen while you rest. You can listen while you work. You can listen while you live your daily life. Take a deep breath, relax your body, clear your mind. Now, let's begin today's English lesson together. In today's podcast, we are talking about a kind of progress that many people do not notice. Today's topic is this: progress happens quietly. When learning English, many learners expect progress to feel obvious. They expect clear signs. They expect big changes. They expect moments that feel exciting. But real progress often does not feel like that. Most of the time, progress is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not ask for attention. You may listen every day and feel the same. You may practice regularly and still feel unsure. This can feel discouraging. But this feeling does not mean nothing is happening. It means progress is happening in the background. Quiet progress does not create strong emotions. It does not feel dramatic. It feels normal. And because it feels normal, people often miss it. In this episode, we will talk about why progress in English is often invisible. We will talk about why learning feels slow, even when it is working. And we will talk about how to recognize quiet signs of growth. You do not need to rush. You do not need to prove anything. You only need to continue. Progress does not need noise to be real. It does not need pressure to be strong. Sometimes the most important changes are the ones you barely notice. They happen while you are living your life. They happen while you keep going. This podcast is here to remind you of one thing. If you are still listening, if you are still showing up, then progress is already happening, even if it feels quiet. Quiet progress is often mistaken for no progress because it does not feel exciting. Many learners expect progress to feel obvious. They expect clear signs such as speaking faster, understanding everything, or feeling confident all the time. When these signs do not appear, doubt begins to grow. People start to think they are stuck. They think they are not improving. They think they are doing something wrong. But quiet progress works differently. Quiet progress does not change how you feel overnight. It changes how your brain works over time. These changes happen slowly, and you are not always aware of them. When something improves gradually, the brain adapts. What was once difficult starts to feel normal. And when something feels normal, you stop noticing it. This is why quiet progress is easy to miss. Another reason is expectation. Many learners expect progress to feel like a clear step forward. But learning English is not a straight line. Some days feel better, Some days feel the same. Some days even feel worse. This does not mean progress stopped. It means the process is uneven. Quiet progress also happens in small ways. You understand a sentence a little faster. You recognize a word without thinking. You feel slightly less nervous than before. These moments feel small, so small that you often ignore them. But small changes add up. Quiet progress also hides behind routine. When English becomes part of your daily life, improvement feels less noticeable. You are no longer surprised by understanding. You simply understand. This normal feeling is progress. Comparison also hides quiet progress. When you look at others, you see their results. You do not see their slow days, their confusion, or their doubts. This comparison makes your own progress feel smaller than it really is. Quiet progress requires patience to recognize. It asks you to look back, not just forward. It asks you to notice how English feels compared to before. If English feels less stressful than it used to, that is progress. If you stay connected longer than before, that is progress. If you do not give up as quickly as you once did, that is progress. Quiet progress does not shout, it whispers. And learning to hear that whisper is an important part of learning English. The brain changes quietly when it is exposed to English again and again. These changes do not happen in one moment. They happen through repetition and regular contact. Each time you hear English, the brain notices something small. It may notice a sound. It may notice a familiar word. It may notice the rhythm of a sentence. These small notices do not feel important, but they create connections. The brain builds understanding by connecting sound, meaning, and context. It does this slowly, without asking for attention. When exposure is regular, the brain begins to feel familiar with English. Familiarity reduces effort. Reduced effort makes listening easier. This process feels quiet because it happens below awareness. You do not feel the brain working. You only notice when things feel easier than before. Repetition plays a key role. Hearing the same words and structures many times helps the brain predict meaning. When the brain can predict, it relaxes. A relaxed brain does not panic. It does not rush to translate. It simply listens. This is why repeated exposure feels comfortable over time. English stops feeling foreign. It starts feeling expected. Another important point is time. The brain needs time to strengthen connections. Strong connections do not form in one session. They form through many small moments, moments that feel ordinary, moments that you might not remember. Quiet change is still real change. Even when you do not feel it, the brain is adapting. You may suddenly notice that listening feels smoother. You may notice that words appear faster. You may notice that you stay calm longer. These moments are the result of quiet work. Work that happened while you were simply listening and living your life. Progress does not need strong effort to happen. It needs regular exposure and patience. When you trust this process, you stop worrying about speed. You allow the brain to do what it does best: change quietly. Feeling stuck is often part of real progress, even though it does not feel that way. Many learners believe that feeling stuck means something is wrong. They think progress should always feel forward and clear. So, when nothing seems to change, worry begins. But learning English does not move in a straight line. It moves in phases. There are times when things feel active and new, and there are times when everything feels quiet and unchanged. These quiet periods often feel uncomfortable. You feel like you are doing the same thing again and again. You feel like you are not moving. But this feeling does not mean the brain stopped learning. It means the brain is stabilizing what it has already learned. Stabilization is important. The brain needs time to strengthen connections. Without this time, learning stays weak. When you feel stuck, the brain is often organizing information. It is sorting sounds. It is refining meaning. It is making things more automatic. This work is invisible. You do not feel it happening. Another reason feeling stuck appears is expectation. You expect progress to look like constant improvement. But real progress often looks like repetition. You hear similar things again. You respond in similar ways. Nothing feels new. This repetition may feel boring, but repetition is how skills become stable. Feeling stuck also appears when learning becomes normal. English no longer feels exciting or scary. It simply feels present. This normal feeling can be mistaken for no progress. But normal is a sign of familiarity. Familiarity reduces effort. Reduced effort is progress. Another important point is emotion. When emotions are calm, progress feels less noticeable. Strong emotions make change feel bigger. Quiet learning creates quiet change. Feeling stuck is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to continue gently. If you stay connected during these periods, progress often appears later. Sometimes suddenly, sometimes unexpectedly. Many learners notice improvement only after a long, quiet phase. They suddenly understand more. They suddenly feel calmer. This is because the work was happening all along. Feeling stuck does not mean you are failing. It means you are in the middle of growth, and growth often happens quietly. Quiet progress often shows itself through small signs that are easy to miss. Many learners wait for big moments to feel progress. They wait to speak fluently. They wait to understand everything. They wait to feel confident all the time. But quiet progress rarely appears this way. Instead, it shows up in small changes, changes that feel normal, changes that feel almost unimportant. For example, you may notice that listening feels slightly easier than before. You do not need to focus as hard. You stay with the speaker longer. This is a sign of progress. You may notice that some words sound familiar, even if you do not know their meaning clearly. Your brain recognizes them without effort. This recognition is progress. Another small sign is emotional. You feel a little less nervous when English appears. You feel calmer when listening. You recover faster when you do not understand. This emotional change is important. It means your brain feels safer. Safety allows learning to continue. You may also notice that you respond more quickly, not perfectly, but faster than before. You may still make mistakes, but you do not freeze as long. This is progress. Another quiet sign is consistency. You keep showing up, you keep listening. You do not quit easily. Staying connected is progress. Many learners underestimate this, but not quitting is one of the strongest signs of growth. You may also notice that English feels more familiar in daily life. You hear it and feel less resistance. You accept it as part of your routine. This acceptance is progress. Small signs do not feel exciting, but they are reliable. They tell you that learning is working, even if it feels slow. Quiet progress asks you to notice gently, not to judge, not to rush. When you learn to see these small signs, doubt becomes smaller. You trust the process more, and trusting the process allows progress to continue quietly. Comparing yourself to others is one of the easiest ways to miss your own progress. When you learn English, it is natural to look around. You hear other people speak. You see others understand quickly. You notice their confidence. And slowly, comparison begins. Comparison changes how you see yourself. You stop looking at where you started. You stop noticing what has improved. Instead, you focus on what you do not have yet. This focus hides progress. Everyone learns English in a different way. Some people speak early but understand less. Some people understand a lot but speak later. Different paths create different results, but comparison ignores this. When you compare yourself, you usually compare your inside to someone else's outside. You feel your confusion, you feel your doubt, but you only see their smooth moments. You do not see their fear. You do not see their quiet struggles. You do not see how long their process really was. Comparison also creates pressure. You feel you should be faster. You feel you should be better by now. This pressure does not help learning. It creates tension. Tension makes English feel heavier. Another problem with comparison is timing. You compare your current stage to someone else's later stage. This makes your own progress feel small. But progress must be measured against your past self, not against someone else. If you understand more than before, that is progress. If you stay calmer than before, that is progress. If you keep going instead of quitting, that is progress. Comparison pulls attention away from these signs. It also steals motivation. You feel discouraged. You feel behind. When motivation drops, Learning slows. Quiet progress needs protection. It needs a calm mind. It needs patience. Comparison removes calm. It creates noise. When you stop comparing, your attention returns to your own experience. You begin to notice small improvements again. You begin to trust your own pace. Every learner's path is unique. Your progress does not need to look like anyone else's progress. Quiet progress grows best when it is not judged, when it is not rushed, when it is allowed to be different. Letting go of comparison does not mean ignoring others. It means choosing to respect your own process. And when you respect your process, progress becomes easier to see. Quiet progress needs protection, and patience is one of the strongest forms of protection. When you learn English, impatience often appears. You want results now. You want clear proof that your effort is working. When proof does not appear quickly, doubt begins. Patience changes this experience. Patience allows learning to unfold without pressure. It gives the brain time to adjust and grow. Consistency works together with patience. Consistency keeps English present in your life, even when progress feels slow. Patience allows you to accept that slowness without quitting. When patience is missing, people often change methods too quickly. They jump from one resource to another. They restart again and again. This constant restarting interrupts quiet progress. The brain does not get enough time to build strong connections. Learning stays shallow. Consistency protects against this. You stay with one simple routine. You allow repetition to do its work. Patience also helps you stay calm during unclear periods. Some days feel flat, some days feel confusing. With patience, these days do not feel dangerous. You understand that unclear days are part of learning. You do not force improvement. You simply continue. Consistency during these days is powerful. Even small actions keep the habit alive. The habit keeps progress moving, even when you do not feel it. Another important role of patience is emotional stability. You stop reacting strongly to good days and bad days. You begin to see learning as a long process. This emotional balance supports quiet progress. Learning feels safer. The brain stays open. Consistency builds trust over time. You trust that showing up is enough. You trust that learning is happening, even without visible results. Patience keeps that trust strong. It reminds you that progress does not need to be fast to be real. Together, patience and consistency create a stable environment. In this environment, quiet progress can grow without pressure, without fear, without rushing. This is how quiet progress is protected and allowed to continue. Quiet progress may not feel exciting, but it is the kind of progress that creates lasting confidence. When progress happens quietly, it does not depend on strong emotions. It does not rise and fall with motivation. It grows steadily, even on ordinary days. This steady growth changes how you feel about English. You stop seeing English as something stressful. You stop seeing it as a test you must pass. Instead, English becomes familiar. It becomes something you can approach without fear. This familiarity is the foundation of real confidence. Lasting confidence does not come from one good experience. It comes from many small experiences that feel safe. Each time you listen and feel calm, confidence grows. Each time you try and nothing bad happens, confidence grows. These moments are quiet. You may not remember them clearly, but they shape how your brain reacts to English. Over time, your body responds differently. Your breathing stays calmer. Your mind stays more open. You do not freeze as easily. This is confidence, not loud confidence, not perfect confidence, but stable confidence. Quiet progress also changes your expectations. You stop expecting yourself to be perfect. You stop demanding fast results. This kindness toward yourself strengthens confidence. When you are not afraid of failing, you are more willing to try. When you are willing to try, learning continues. Confidence built through quiet progress lasts longer because it is not fragile. It does not disappear after one bad day. It does not depend on constant success. It is rooted in experience. Experience that says, I can continue. You may still feel nervous sometimes. You may still feel unsure in new situations. But these feelings no longer control you. You trust yourself more. You trust the process more. Quiet progress teaches you an important lesson. Learning does not need to be dramatic to be real. Growth does not need attention to be strong. When you allow progress to happen quietly, confidence grows naturally. And confidence that grows naturally stays with you. This is how quiet progress leads to lasting change in English. You've reached the end of today's episode. Before you leave, I want you to remember one simple thing. You did something good for yourself today. You listened. You stayed. You didn't give up. And that matters. Learning English is not about being fast. It is not about being perfect. It is about showing up again and again. Some days will feel easy. Some days will feel hard. Both are normal. Progress does not always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels quiet. Sometimes you don't notice it at all. But learning is still happening. Every minute you listen, your ears are learning new sounds. Your mind is learning new patterns. Your confidence is growing, even if you cannot see it yet. You don't need to push yourself. You don't need to compare yourself to others. You are on your own path, and your pace is enough. Let English be part of your daily life. Listen while you rest. Listen while you work. Listen while you live your normal day. If this episode helped you feel calmer, more focused, or more motivated, then your time here was well spent. Come back when you can. come back when you need a quiet space to learn. My name is Linda, and this is Podcast for English. Thank you for learning with me. Until next time, keep going and never give up. Believe in yourself, because you are stronger than you think.